guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. This is Ann Seidl, 54 years old. She was out for a run at the end of March of last year. She was out for a run. She left her home around 5:30 in the morning. She was wearing a reflective vest. All the safety things she should be wearing. She was running toward traffic. And then a 17-year-old drunk teenager hit her and fled the scene. Later, she tells her mother that she hit something and she has no idea what it is and she doesn't care. This case makes me so upset and so sick to my stomach. I just heard about it over the weekend. Again, this happened actually March 29th, 2025. She just was in court last week to plead out on some of her charges, but she's due back in court the end of June of this year for her hit and run. But I just cannot believe the audacity of this now 18-year-old who hit and killed an innocent mother in Wisconsin.
Charges have been filed against the 17-year-old woman who is accused of hitting and killing a woman in Dunn County last weekend, and the criminal complaint sheds a new light on the accused. 18 News' Sam Freested was in court with her today and has pored over the court documents. Sam, what can you tell us?
That's right, Katie. I was in the courtroom for Addison Bowell's initial virtual appearance just a couple hours ago. And today she was charged with 2 felonies, homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle and hit and run involving death. According to the criminal complaint, deputies were called to County Highway Y in the township of Dunn County around 7:15 on the morning of March 29th. Upon arriving, they found a woman in the ditch, and despite life-saving measures, she was pronounced dead. The victim was identified as Ann Seidl of Eau Claire, who had been running on the side of the road. The woman who found Seidl and called 911 was Addison Bowell's mother. She told police her daughter had come home an hour prior and was drunk. Bowell told her mother she thought she hit another vehicle.
This is WQOW News 18. Can you imagine her 17-year-old daughter, who shouldn't be drinking in the first place? Okay, mom goes on to say that she has a drinking problem and a marijuana problem that she cannot control. But we'll get into that also. And an hour later, she goes out to leave for work after her daughter tells her, "Oh, I had an accident with the car and I hit another car, I think." So she left whatever she hit and came home, and she was intoxicated. And so her mother, on the way to work, sees this 54-year-old woman on the side of the road in the ditch an hour later. Yeah. This pisses me off to no possible end. It really, really does. Not only Addison, which she's the one that caused the entire thing, but mom kind of pisses me off as well. So an hour later, 911 is called, and of course, emergency, folks, paramedics, they can't do anything to help her. Could Ann have been helped if Addison would have stopped and called 911 at that time? I don't know. And we may never know.
When authorities questioned Bowell at her home about how much she had to drink, Bowell told them she had, quote, drank a lot, including beer, vodka, and, quote, probably anything. Bowell also told authorities she didn't know what she hit and didn't really care. A preliminary breath test showed a blood alcohol level of 0.114. When she was informed someone died, Bowell's response was, quote, "Who walks on the road at 3 in the morning? Like, bro." She added, quote, "So am I going to get out or not?"
So let's throw it at the victim here. Let's blame it on the victim because you're a 17-year-old drunk, who drank whatever the hell you felt like, you do whatever the hell you felt like, and apparently mom's aware of all this, but I don't know what the heck she's doing about it. But your response is, who walks on the road at 3 in the morning? It doesn't matter. What are you doing out on the road at 3 in the morning, driving drunk at 17 years old? Seriously, what the hell are you doing, Addison? And then she says to the law enforcement officers, so when am I going to get out? How about never? You murdered someone, and you murdered a mother of 3 boys.
A search warrant on her phone found videos Bowell sent after hitting Seidl showing the damage to her car. She told them she'd hit another car head on and left the scene. Another message read, quote, "I hit them so hard." The victim, Ann Seidl, is being remembered as a compassionate woman. Many people, including the Eau Claire Marathon, have paid tribute to her since her passing. For Bowell, her bond has been set at $100,000, and she is due back in court later this month.
Of course, this particular news piece was about 9 months ago. Okay, so like I said, I am going to go through the probable cause. Okay, but just to give you an update on the case, because we just got an update, which is how I learned about the case from Law and Crime. So as of now, Addison is 18 years old, which I don't think it really matters, because when she was 17, she didn't give a crap about anything, and I'm sure all the charges were adult charges to begin with. So last Thursday, she pleaded guilty to 3 out of the 4 counts. Her traffic citations and the hit and run involving a death, those charges and those counts remain open. And she's supposed to go to trial, it looks like around June 22nd, for the hit and run charge. So, and she's still behind bars, so thank God for that, right? Because it's been revoked, her bond's been revoked, so she's not going anywhere. And at this point, she's probably sobered the hell up, and I hope that she's feeling every single bit of all this. Although I don't know, maybe she doesn't give a crap still. She has not gotten any sentencing, because that's going to happen probably after her trial this summer. This entire case just, it really upsets me and pisses me off. And like I said, because I'm a runner, I think that intensifies it, because as a runner, we are out there in early hours, and at this point, it is what it is. Okay, she's a runner, she does marathons, and I looked through a bit of some of her Facebook and her friends. She has done many marathons. Okay, I don't know the exact count at this point. And also, she's got 3 boys. They look like they're adults. One of her kids has cerebral palsy, and he has run races with her. So this is a woman who is active. She's out there in the community, and she's staying fit. She was out there. She was wearing, a reflective vest, all the gear that she needs to wear to be visible. And it really wouldn't have mattered if she had a damn headlight on her head, because Addison didn't give a crap. She was drunk, high on whatever, and she was looking at her phone. So she didn't even know she hit a person. She thought she hit a car, and even then she didn't care. So it doesn't matter that she hit a runner or a walker. Addison she's just completely guilty, and I can't wait for a jury to give her her guilty verdict. And honestly, that's exactly what's going to happen. But here is the criminal complaint, and this was posted on one of the local news sites, and I will link to it if you guys would like to take a look at it. Again, this is state of Wisconsin, and it is versus Addison Sophia Bowell, and that gives her address and all. Obviously, don't go to her address, because that's her poor mama's house, even though I'm not completely happy with mom either. But yeah. So here is the count 1. Okay, homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle. The above named defendant on or about March 29th, 2025 in the town of Dunn County, Wisconsin, did cause the death of victim by the operation of a vehicle while under the influence of an intoxicant, contrary to section 940.091A, 939.503D, Wisconsin State statutes, a Class D felony, and upon conviction may be fined not more than $100,000 or imprisoned by not more than 25 years or both. I hope she gets 25 years. I hope the judge throws the book at her, because you could tell from the way her attitude is. Oh, well, she shouldn't have been out. Whatever. She doesn't care about anyone but herself. And furthermore, invoking the provisions of Wisconsin Statute 343.313C, upon conviction, the department shall revoke the defendant's operating privilege for 5 years. I think she should never drive again, but if she gets 25 years in prison, well, that'll be quite some time before she's allowed to drive. And furthermore, invoking the provisions of Wisconsin Statute 940.091CA, upon conviction, the court shall impose a bifurcated sentence under section 973.01, and the term of confinement in prison portion of the bifurcated sentence shall be at least 5 years, except that a court may impose a term of confinement that is less than 5 years if the court finds a compelling reason and places its reason on the record. Count 2. Hit and run resulting in death. The above named defendant on or about March 29, 2025 in the town of Dunn County, Wisconsin, did operate a vehicle involved in an accident that resulted in death of victim and failed to reasonably investigate what was struck, and if the operator knew or had reason to know that the accident resulted in an injury or death of a person or in damage to a vehicle that is driven or attended by a person, and failed to stop the vehicle that she was operating as close to the scene of the accident as possible, and remain at the scene of the accident until she did all of the following: give her name, address, and the registration number of the vehicle she was operating to the operator or occupant of the or person attending any vehicle collided with, and upon request and if available, exhibit her operator's license to the operator or occupant of or person attending any vehicle collided with, and or render reasonable assistance to any person injured in the accident, including transporting or making arrangements to transport the person to a physician, surgeon, or hospital for medical or surgical treatment if it is apparent that medical or surgical treatment is necessary, or if requested by the injured person, contrary to section 346.671 and 346.745D, 939.503D, Wisconsin statutes, a Class D felony, and upon conviction may be fined not more than $100,000 or imprisoned not more than 25 years or both. She could care less about any of this, I guarantee you. She obviously, she didn't stop. And then when she gets home, oh, I hit a car. I think I hit a car really bad, really hard. Really? Really? And furthermore, invoking the provisions of Wisconsin Statute 343.313J, the department shall revoke the defendant's operating privilege for 5 years. As far as I'm concerned, that particular portion, to me, it doesn't matter. Just throw her ass in prison, throw away the key for 25 years. I mean, obviously they can't give her life, I guess, but 25 years, throw her ass in prison. Complainant relates that she has reviewed incident reports prepared by Chad Mosel, Adam Hunt, Rich Day, James Gates, and Rebecca Merrifield of the Dunn County Sheriff's Office, law enforcement officers believed to be truthful and reliable, whose reports are modified in part and quote herein, and which indicate as follows. On Saturday, March 29, 2025, at approximately 0714 hours, the Dunn County Communication Center received a 911 call regarding a female lying in a ditch in the area of in the area of N3567 County TKY in the township of Dunn County, Wisconsin. The caller reported that the female appeared to have been hit by a car, and the caller believed that she was beyond help. You know, I've thought about this a lot. This was a Saturday morning, okay? I run every Saturday morning with my group. It sounds like sometimes Ann runs alone. And you know what? She shouldn't be shamed for that. She shouldn't be shamed for what time she ran, and if she ran alone. Like I said, she was wearing a reflective vest. She was wearing, everything that she was supposed to be wearing, and she was running, toward traffic, which is how you're supposed to run, toward the direction of traffic. Which is the opposite of if you're on a bicycle where you ride with the flow of traffic. And I cannot imagine this poor woman. She's out there alone, just doing her thing. She's just doing her run, okay? Minding her own business, training for her next marathon. A drunk teenager hits her. God knows what happened between the time she ended up in that ditch. And then she's suffering all alone at the side of the road. It's horribly sad. It is horribly sad, and any reasonable person would have stopped to help, but Addison, she's not reasonable. She's not. Deputy Mosel arrived on the scene with Menominee Fire Department at around 7:25 hours and observed a female laying on her back in the ditch. She was wearing a pink long-sleeve shirt, maroon pants, and had a high-visibility vest around her right arm. Life-saving measures were attempted, but they were unsuccessful. Again, could Ann have been saved if the life-saving measures would have started right after she was hit? Over an hour, really. An hour. 60 minutes at least. Deputy Mosel began taking photographs before any evidence could be disturbed during the life-saving efforts. Deputy Mosel observed vehicle parts such as a headlight and mirror scattered throughout the area where the female was laying. Based on the missing vehicle parts and deformity of the female subject, it was apparent that she had been struck by a vehicle. No damaged vehicle was found at the scene, suggesting that the striking vehicle had fled. A red Jeep arrived on the scene and a male exited the Jeep. The male screamed, "No!" multiple times. Deputy Hunt asked the male for his name, and he stated he was Witness. Deputy Hunt then asked the male for the deceased female's name, and he advised it was Victim and that she lived with him. Witness stated that he had a son at home with Down syndrome and needed to get back to watch over him. Witness then left the scene but advised deputies that he lived nearby and that they would see his Jeep in the driveway. I cannot imagine what this family member, this loved one, saw and then had to go home to her son with Down syndrome and tell him that his mother was dead. The person who found the female called 911. KJL remained on the scene to speak with law enforcement. She appeared upset and stated that she believed her daughter was the one who struck Victim. KJL stated her daughter had arrived home drunk at approximately 6:15 hours. KJL stated that her daughter, Addison Bowell, indicated that she thought she may have struck another vehicle. KJL indicated that she observed damage to Addison's vehicle. KJL explained that she was going to get coffee and then go to work. She was driving on County Road Y, observed a damaged mailbox, and then saw Victim. KJL said that she had texted Addison and indicated that she had hit somebody. KJL said Addison told her that she did not and asked how she would know. This is the attitude that this teenager had when her mother said, "You hit somebody." "Oh, I didn't do that." Yeah. KJL indicated Addison had attempted unaliving twice in the past and indicated if she knew she hit somebody, she may attempt it again. No, she needs to answer for this. That's the easy way out. KJL stated they had been through a lot, including Addison running away, Addison spending 5 months at a military camp and attending counseling. She stated that Addison suffers from depression and takes meds to help her. KJL stated she will not quit drinking and smoking weed. She just refuses. Well, guess what, Mom? I realize it sounds like you've been doing some things. You've been trying to send her off to military camp, counseling, but it wasn't enough. Now, your teenage daughter has killed an innocent person. Deputy Moselle and Sergeant Day responded to KJL's residence, which is located approximately 2.5 miles from where the victim was struck, to secure the vehicle and make contact with Addison. They arrived at approximately 7:36 hours and observed a gold with white Chevy Malibu bearing Wisconsin registration of redacted, which returned as a 2014 Chevy Malibu registered to KJL. The vehicle had front-end damage, and the windshield appeared to be shattered on the driver's side on the A pillar, along with the window on the driver's door. The mirror and headlight were missing, which further suggested that the Malibu was likely the suspect vehicle. This girl was so effing drunk and out of her mind. Look how much her car was damaged. A normal person would have said, "Holy crap, I need to pull over and see what happened." Addison's grandmother greeted Deputy Moselle and Sergeant Day at the door and allowed them to enter the residence. Upon entering, they saw that Addison was sitting on her grandpa's lap and appeared to be upset. She's not upset that she killed Ann, okay? She's upset for herself. I guarantee you. She's upset because her mom just told her, "You killed somebody." So now she's going to cry to Grandpa about it. Addison's grandparents and Juvenile 1 were present during their contact with Addison. Addison initially told Deputy Moselle she refused to talk and asked that he get out of her house. Yeah. I think you're a minor and you don't have the control to say that. In no time did Deputy Moselle tell Addison she was under arrest or detained. Addison indicated that she did not want to deal with this at that time. You know, I don't think that Ann's family wanted to deal with their mother, their loved one, being run over on the side of the road and no longer being able to see her. I don't think they wanted to have that phone call either, you know? Deputy Moselle asked Addison what happened, and she indicated that she did not know and asked him to leave. Yeah. Deputy Moselle asked Addison if it was her vehicle in the driveway, and she indicated it was. Deputy Moselle then asked Addison how her vehicle got smashed up, and she told him she probably hit something. Deputy Moselle asked Addison what she had hit, and she stated she did not know. Deputy Moselle asked Addison what kind of alcohol she had been drinking, and she indicated that she, quote, had drank a lot, unquote. I think you drank way more than a lot. Addison further indicated that she had been drinking beer, vodka, and, quote, probably anything, unquote. Addison stated that she was operating the vehicle and there had been no one with her. Deputy Moselle asked Addison what time she started drinking, and she indicated 0400. Addison further said that she had not been drinking long and was not drunk. Addison's grandfather asked why she had crashed her car if she wasn't drinking, and she indicated that she was trying to play music on her phone. Deputy Moselle asked Addison what she had hit, and she said that she didn't know what she had hit and didn't really care. This is all we need to know about Addison. I don't know. I'm really drunk. I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, throw her ass in a hole for the next 25 or more years. Deputy Moselle asked Addison if she had been using any rugs, and she said no. I wouldn't believe that at all. He asked her when she had last used rugs, and she told him never. I believe that even more. At one point, Addison began smiling, and Deputy Moselle asked again when she had last used rugs. Addison then indicated it was approximately 3 weeks ago, and that she had snorted prescription pills that were not prescribed to her. During this contact with Addison, she appeared to have mood swings from sad to upset to calm to smiling. A moderate odor of intoxicating beverage was present, and her eyes appeared glossy. Addison's speech was slightly slurred throughout the contact, and at times she had rapid speech. Field sobriety tests. Deputy Moselle asked Addison if she was willing to complete field sobriety tests. Addison told him she was not. Deputy Moselle explained to Addison that he would just like to attempt the tests, and she indicated she was not willing. Deputy Moselle asked Addison if she was refusing the field sobriety test, and she indicated she was. He then explained to her that he wanted to give her the benefit of completing the field sobriety tests. Deputy Moselle stated he wanted to take her through each exercise he wanted her to complete, and if she didn't want to do it at that time, she could refuse at that time. Addison then decided she would do field sobriety tests. Well, don't do anybody any favors, Addison. The tests were conducted on a gravel surface in the driveway at Addison's residence. The driveway was free from debris, and Deputy Moselle's emergency lights on his patrol car were not activated. So it looks like here are the tests. Horizontal gaze, Nida Gomez, and I know I'm probably saying that highly wrong, so let's just say HGN. Deputy Moselle positioned Addison properly for the HGN test. He gave full instructions to Addison on how to complete the test. Addison indicated she understood his instructions and did not have any questions. Addison's eyes tracked equally, and her pupils were both the same size. Deputy Moselle observed the following indicators during this test. Lack of smooth pursuit, present in both eyes. Distinct and sustained nigimus at maximum deviation, present in both eyes. Angle of onset prior to 45 degrees, present in both eyes. Vertical nigimus, not present. Lack of convergence, not checked. Eyelid tremors, not observed. And I'm sure somebody's going to correct me how to say that in the comments. And that's cool. You can tell me. Maybe I'll be able to say it next time. 9-step walk and turn. Deputy Moselle asked Addison if her footwear was okay. Addison indicated she was able to walk in the shoes fine. Addison said she was able to walk okay and had no issues at that time. Addison indicated she had been to the chiropractor recently and mentioned her legs being broke. Yeah. They did not appear to be broke to Deputy Moselle. Deputy Moselle asked Addison what she did for work, and she indicated she was going to school to be a CNA. Dear gosh. Addison had mentioned she had to get her life together and was hoping the situation would not mess up her life. I think that Ann Seidl was hoping that she wouldn't be killed and be able to return back to her family after her run that Saturday morning, Addison, and that her life wouldn't be over and her sons wouldn't be without a mom. But, that didn't happen either. So I think that your life's pretty effed up now, Deputy Moselle positioned Addison properly for the walk and turn test. The test was demonstrated and explained to Addison. Addison indicated she understood. Deputy Moselle observed the following indicators. Did not maintain balance during the starting position. Based on Addison not maintaining the instructional position, she had incorrect number forward, as she had taken 8 steps instead of the instructed 9 steps. Addison completed an improper turn as she had turned to her right instead of her left as instructed and demonstrated. That's not shocking to me at all. 1-leg stand. Deputy Moselle positioned Addison properly for the 1-leg stand test. The test was demonstrated and explained to Addison. While Deputy Moselle was explaining the test, Addison said she could not do it sober. Yeah, I hear this all the time when I watch these videos. These body cams where they always tell you, I couldn't do this sober. Deputy Moselle answered Addison's questions before she had started the test. Deputy Moselle observed the following indicators. Swayed while balancing. Addison had counted 1,000 to 21,000 during that time. She had missed 12 1,000 and said 13 1,000 and then got back on track starting at 12 1,000 and then had said 14 1,000 twice. Alphabet test. Deputy Moselle asked Addison what her highest level of education was, and she indicated sophomore year of high school. That's a shocker, isn't it? Addison said she was familiar with the English alphabet. Deputy Moselle asked Addison to recite the alphabet from the letter A to Z without singing it, keeping equal pauses between each letter, and to not stop until she completed it. Addison completed the test as instructed. Well, I'm a little bit shocked that she was able to do that. Counting test. Deputy Moselle asked Addison to count backwards from 54 to 36. Addison completed the test as follows: 54, 53, 52, 51, 49. Wait. 50, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, 44, 43, 42, 41, 40, 39, 38, 37, 36. Yeah. Preliminary breath test, PBT. As Deputy Moselle was going to administer a PBT with Addison, she indicated she was not going to blow into it as he just completed field sobriety tests with her. He explained to Addison that a PBT was used to confirm his observations whether the impairment was drugs or alcohol. Addison had mentioned that she had like 16 underages and couldn't get another one. Again, why the hell is mom letting this kid drive a car? Yeah. Because the car is registered to mom. Yeah. Addison started walking away from Deputy Moselle. Addison initially stated she was going to refuse, and then she decided to blow into the PBT. She has no idea. She just was like, I'm not doing it. Okay. Deputy Moselle used his issued alcohol sensor breath testing unit to number 215, serial 1221880. The result was a .114 BAC. While Deputy Moselle was administering the field sobriety tests, Sergeant Day spoke with Addison's grandparents, who stated that KJL had called and asked them to go to the residence to be with Addison as she had hit something. When they arrived at the residence, Addison wanted to leave with her friends, Juvenile 1 and Juvenile 2, but her grandfather stopped her. Sergeant Day asked Addison's grandfather if she had made any comments about what she hit or anything that had happened. He stated Addison said she didn't know what she hit. Sergeant Day also spoke with Juvenile 1, who was at the residence with Juvenile 2. Juvenile 1 said she received a phone call from Addison around 0630 asking Juvenile 1 to come get her. Juvenile 1 said Addison would not specify why she wanted her to come get her and that she just said she needed her. Juvenile 1 was with Juvenile 2, so they both went to Addison's residence and only had been there for approximately 10 minutes before Deputy Moselle and Sergeant Day arrived. Juvenile 1 said Addison was emotional on the phone and sounded drunk. Sergeant Day seized Addison's phone as potential evidence and requested a tow truck to take Addison's vehicle to the Dunn County Sheriff's Office's secure impound facility. Deputy Moselle advised Addison that she was under arrest and placed her in handcuffs. Addison became emotional and started to cry. Again, she's not crying because she hit and killed somebody. She's crying for her little self. Prior to leaving her residence, Deputy Moselle read the informing the accused form verbatim to Addison. After reading the entire form, he asked Addison if she would submit to an evidentiary chemical test of her blood. Addison said no, and that she was not going to let someone stick a needle in her body as she was scared of needles. Deputy Moselle explained to Addison that since she refused, he would have to apply for a search warrant, at which time she indicated that she would do it. See, he explains to her, oh, if we don't do this, we don't do this. Oh, okay. Deputy Moselle offered to read the informing the accused to Addison again, at which time she indicated she understood that if she didn't consent, he would have to get a search warrant, and if she did consent, he wouldn't need a search warrant. Based on Addison's response, it was not marked as a refusal. However, a search warrant was still applied for and granted. That to me is smart police work right there. Because you know her attorney's going to question it. Because if they didn't get that search warrant, the attorney would have said, well, she refused and she was so drunk and out of it, she didn't understand when she did consent. So, good on you, Deputy Moselle. Upon arriving at Mayo Menemee, Deputy Moselle escorted Addison into the hospital. Prior to the blood draw, Deputy Moselle confirmed that the blood draw kit was sealed and then opened it. Deputy Moselle then observed a hospital technician complete the blood draw at approximately 09:20 hours. After the blood draw, Deputy Moselle packaged the blood specimen container and resealed the blood draw kit. The blood draw kit was later mailed to the Wisconsin Laboratory of Hygiene. Deputy Gates and medical examiner Marcy Rosas later responded to witness's residence to speak with him further. Witness was very emotional and was already aware that victim was deceased. He stated that victim went for runs almost every morning and had gone for a run that morning at 5:32 a.m. So again, remember when they said 3 o'clock in the morning? It wasn't 3 in the morning. She went for a run at 5:30 a.m. And that's a totally normal time for a run. Witness said that victim had a son with Down syndrome. Her son woke up around 7:10 a.m. and asked witness why victim was not home from her run yet. Witness said a short time later he saw an ambulance drive by, so he got in his vehicle and drove down to the scene where he observed victim deceased. Witness allowed Deputy Gates to look at his Ring camera app and observe victim getting dressed in the garage and putting on a high visibility vest. She exited the garage around 5:32 a.m. and there was no further video of her coming back into the garage. Investigator Merrifield obtained a search warrant for the vehicle Addison had been driving. Several law enforcement officers responded to the secure impound facility where the vehicle was now being held to conduct the search warrant. Deputy Moselle noticed some maroon color transfer on the front driver's side bumper cover, on the hood, and on the front driver's side quarter panel. The maroon color was consistent with the maroon pants the victim had been wearing when struck. That is so sad. The driver's seat of the vehicle appeared to be back as far as it could to go to the rear passenger seat. Deputy Moselle found this odd as it didn't match Addison's physical description, given that she was a smaller female. Addison confirmed that she was the only one to operate the vehicle. However, due to this observation, DNA swabs were collected. Multiple empty cases of twisted tea, malt beverage, and an empty 1.75-liter bottle of Badger Claw vodka were located in the trunk of the vehicle. A wallet was located in the glove compartment, which contained Addison's driver's license. On March 29, 2025, Sergeant Stalker and Deputy Moselle interviewed Addison at the Dunn County Jail. Sergeant Stalker read Addison her Miranda rights prior to asking her any questions. Addison said she understood her rights and signed the form. Sergeant Stalker asked Addison to explain what she did the previous evening throughout the night and all the way up to the point of arriving at the jail. Addison said she was at a house drinking in the garage all night with friends. Addison said she was dropped off at her cousin's house where her car was. Addison said she then went home briefly and then drove back to where she was previously at the house party. Addison said, quote, "and I hit somebody on the way there," unquote. Addison said she continued driving all the way to town, but then turned around and went back home. So she had gone home, and she was already drunk, and then she went back out. Can you imagine if you didn't go back out, Addison? Addison stated she drank a lot at CRH's residence. She said that she and Juvenile 1 shared a bottle of vodka and finished the bottle. She also stated that she had 3 Busch Light beers and estimated she had 2 or 3 Simply Lemonade drinks. Addison also admitted to smoking marijuana before she arrived at CRH's residence. Addison stated she drove a Chevy Malibu that is really messed up. Sergeant Stalker asked Addison what she meant by messed up, and she said, quote, "now it's messed up even worse," unquote. Addison said previously her windshield and driver's side window were cracked. Sergeant Stalker asked Addison what else there was for damage to her vehicle prior to that morning. Addison said there was a dent on her trunk from hitting a mailbox and crack in her windshield in the lower center portion from hitting a mailbox approximately 2 winters ago. She also said that all of her bumpers are zip tied on. Sergeant Stalker asked about damage to her front bumper near her license plate. Addison said that damage was already there and her hood was also dented from hitting a tree. Addison added, quote, "I've hit a lot of things. I'm a really bad driver," unquote. "I think you're a drunk driver, Addison." Addison was asked what she told her mom when she got home, but Addison could not recall specifically. She said she probably told her she hit something or her mom saw the damage to the car and asked her about it. Addison said her mom was mad at her for her life decisions and coming home hammered. Addison said that while her mom was gone, she texted her that the lady she hit died. Addison then asked, "Did somebody actually die?" Sergeant Stalker informed Addison that someone was killed and that person was a pedestrian. Addison's response was, quote, "Who walks on the road at 3 in the morning? Like, bro." Addison then followed up with asking, quote, "So am I going to get out or not?" Unquote. Not, Addison. Not for a long, long time. Deputy Moselle asked if she recalled seeing anyone walking. Addison said, quote, "No, nobody was walking. It was dark outside in the middle of the night. What are you even doing? That pisses me off," unquote. Sergeant Stalker asked Addison how she came to realize that she hit something. Addison said she heard a thud. Addison said she did not stop to look. Addison said she was on her phone, not paying attention at all, and was completely in the other lane. On March 31st, 2025, investigators Merrifield and Folzik interviewed KJL. She gave them consent to look at Addison's Life 360. Below is the data they observed. 11:39 p.m. to 12:09 a.m., Addison drove from the city of Mamomi to a location on Highway 12 west of STH 79, believed to be Juvenile 1's residence. 12:16 a.m. to 12:34 a.m., Addison drives from the location on Highway 12 west of STH 79 to somewhere south of Mamoni. Phone was on low battery, so drive detection was disabled. 1:39 a.m. to 2:19 a.m., Addison is at an address near CTHY, possibly home. 2:19 to 2:29 a.m., Addison drives from a location on CTHY to a location in the city of Mamoni near the address of 1339 12th Street Southeast. Addison stays at this address until 5:36 a.m. 5:36 a.m. to 6:15 a.m., Addison drives from the address near 12th Avenue Southeast. GPS doesn't pick her up until near the intersection of 9th Street East and 19th Avenue East to near the intersection of CTHC and CTHY, and then back up to the south of the city of Mamoni and back to an address east of the intersection of CTHC and TTHY. Life 360 gives an estimation of location and doesn't immediately recognize driving, so it may not pick up a location until after the drive has started. Also, it requires the phone to be charged and powered on to work. So again, Ann went out around 5:32 a.m. Sounds like she didn't get very far. It's horrible. A search warrant for Addison's phone was obtained on March 29, 2025. Investigator Merrifield reviewed the contents of the phone, downloaded, and found that at 6:20 a.m., Addison sends CRH a message stating, "I'm home, but my car is FB." And then she sends a follow-up correction, "bad." CRH asks her what she hit, and she says, "Another car. I hit them head in." Addison sends CRH several messages about how she risked her life for him, and he doesn't give an F. At 6:22 a.m. At 6:24 a.m., Addison's location shows she is at home. At 6:29 a.m., Addison makes 2 phone calls to CRH, which are both less than 45 seconds. Addison continues to message CRH about how she needs her vape from him or she's going to tweak. At 6:39 a.m., Addison sends Juvenile 1 and several others a 6-second video of her car parked at Addison's house. In the video, there is damage to the front and driver's side of the vehicle. Attached to the broken glass on the driver's side window is a black and red-pink headband. Dear God. CRH asks Addison, "What's that on your car door?" Someone else responds and asks her what she hit, and she said, "A car, head on." The person sends her a voice message back asking her if she got a DW, and she says, "No, I ran." From the scene, At 6:43 a.m., Addison sends another 6-second video where she says, "Bro, my door doesn't open further than that." And in the video, she's opening her driver's side door, and she has to physically move the black and red pink headband to get into the vehicle. After this video, Addison sends another message saying, "No headlight cover, LOL." Addison then says, "I hit them so hard." That is so horrific. It really is. You see a headband on your car, and you still think that you hit a car. The statements made by law enforcement officers can be considered truthful, credible, and reliable because of the positions of the trust they hold. The statements of the citizen witnesses can be considered truthful, credible, and reliable because they are made by citizen witnesses. The statements of the defendants can be considered truthful, credible, and reliable to the extent to which they are admissions against interests. On the information and belief the above incident occurred in Dunn County, Wisconsin. Based on the foregoing, the complainant believes this complaint to be true and correct, subscribed and sworn to me on electronically signed by, and list all the folks on 4/2/2025. I'm stunned. I really, really am. Because I hadn't read this whole complaint before I read it here. And just hearing this poor woman, a fellow runner, because when you're a runner, the running community, it's big, but when something happens to another runner, whether you knew them or not, it's heartbreaking. It breaks my heart. And to hear that her headband was attached to this car. I mean, the visualization of it just, it makes me sick to my stomach. But this entire, I'm going to follow this case, guys. I really am. And I want justice for Ann and her family. I want justice. Like I said, she went out, she laced up her running shoes, okay? She went out and for a run. Like many of us do. When you go out for a run, you go out for a walk, you know, maybe you go on your bike, and then a 17-year-old drunk, or any drunk, okay, hits you, leaves you on the side of the road to die. And then when she's told that she hit somebody, a runner, or a person, it doesn't matter. When she's told she hit this 54-year-old woman and she died, all she has to say is, well, what is she doing out so early? Walking. Not, oh, this is horrible. I can't believe I did it. She's got zero remorse. Zero. She doesn't give a damn about anybody but herself. Addison only cares about Addison. And so, I don't care about Addison either. I care about Ann Seidl. Okay? I want Addison to feel the full brunt of the justice system when she goes to court, when she goes to her trial in June. And I hope that some of you, or many of you, will follow this with me, because I'm going to do some more research and I'm going to do some more videos before June, okay? Because again, this woman, she's not much older than me. It breaks my heart. It really, really does. And my condolences to her entire family and all her friends, her running community, everyone. This should have never happened. And like I said earlier, I don't think her mom is truly blameless either. And the rest of her family? What have they done? What about her grandparents? But more so, what about mom? She says she can't control her. Well, at the time, she was still 17. What the hell did you do, Mom? You let her drive a car that's registered to you. And you knew that she was a drunk, she did drugs, she was a very irresponsible teen. And she only went to school until she was a sophomore. So what did Mom do to prevent something like this from happening? I don't think she did much of a damn thing. All right, guys. Please let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And with that said, hug your families tight. These things really make me upset. They really, really do. The kids always break my heart, but this one also breaks my heart so much.